All right, this is going to be the trig test part 2, unit 7. All right, so we're doing question number 9, right here. So again, with all these questions right here, first thing I need to do is make sure that I am, drawing the triangle. So I'm going to go through, draw my triangle. So it's an ABC triangle. And it is not drawn to scale because this one's 105. 105 degrees, little a. And little b is... So we have this one right here. So now, given this one right here, this is a angle side side. So we have to deal with an ambiguous case here. So that means that I have little a. So I'll label it little a, little c, and little b right here. So it's going to be ambiguous. So we have to go through and set it up as such. So I'm going to start off by doing my math. So it's going to be law of sine. So 1273 over sine 105 is equal to my 1373 over sine of big B. Okay, so now when I do this right here, do my cross products. So 1373 sine 105 is equal to 1273 sine B. Now divide by 1273. And so right here, I'm going to get sine B is equal to 1373 sine 105 degrees right here over 1273. Okay, now to find the angle, I would always have to do the inverse. So B is equal to the inverse sine of 1373 sine of 105 degrees over 1273. So I'm going to put that in the calculator. So inverse sine, set my here, 1373 times sine 105 degrees over 1273. It's undefined, so when it's undefined, that makes this one no triangle. So it's no triangle right there. So now let's take a look. I'm going to go back and actually show this right here. So for this one right here, now we do the angle side comparison. So now this is 105. It's not possible for a triangle to have an angle bigger than 105 and still be a triangle. Because if I'm looking at this, this goes with this side right here. So the largest angle goes with the largest side. So that means that since little b is larger than little a, that means that big B would have to be bigger than 105, and that's not possible in a triangle. So no such triangle right there. So answer is A. Okay, so the next one is going to be right here. Assume triangle has standard labeling with side angle angle, angle side angle, side side angle, or also referred to as angle side side like everyone else. Side angle side or side side side. Then decide whether the law of sines or the law of cosines could be given right here. So if we have little a, little b, little c, so there's only one time. So with law of sines, I have to have a big and a little. So I'd have to have an angle and a side to actually be able to do any of it. So I can get rid of all the ones that have to do with law of sines. So law of sine, nope. Now, for cosine, this is a side, that's a side, that's a side. So all three letters are referring to sides. So therefore, this one has to be side, 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 law of cosine. All right, number 11. So number 11 is right here. So go ahead and I need to start by drawing a triangle. So find the missing parts, so that means solve for everything. So ABC triangle again. So ABC, C is 112.8 degrees, and little a, which is over here, is going to be 8.1 meters. Little b is 10.8 meters, and then that makes this one little c. So given the information I have, this is a side angle side. So I don't have an angle and a side together, so I cannot use law of sines. This is no possible chance for law of sines. So side angle side is only law of cosine. So we're going to solve for little c here. So this is actually from the formula, and I know everyone has a formula on the reference sheet because I told you to write it down. If you didn't, it's too bad. All right, so little c is equal to the square root of, this is a long thing right here, so 8.1 squared plus 10.8 squared minus 2 times 8.1 times 10.8 times cosine of big C, which is my 0.8 degrees. So plug that all in the calculator. Okay, there we go. Why am I keep pressing the wrong button? Oh, there it is. Okay, square root. So 8.1 squared plus 10.8 squared minus 2 times 8.1 close times 10.8 close times cosine of 112.8 degrees. 112.8 degrees. There we go. All right, hit enter, and we get 15.8. So that means that we just solved for little c. So little c, and since it's a side, it's going to be same units, which is meters. So c, 15.8. Let's see. That's not that one, not that one, not that one. So it has to be, answer is D. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. Next one is number 12. So on number 12, again, draw my triangle. So A, B, C. C is 122 degrees. Little a, 6.3. Little b is 10.2. There we go. That makes this one little c. So go through and solve the whole triangle. So I need to find everything. So let's start by finding little c, because this is, again, side angle side, law of cosine. So little c is equal to the square root of 6.3 squared plus 10.2 squared minus 2 times 6.3 times 10.2 times cosine of 122 degrees. So let's see, 6.3 squared plus 10.2 squared minus 2 times 6.3 times 10.2 times cosine of 122 degrees. There we go. And I get 14.6. So C is about 14.6, and my units are all in meters. So let's take a look. So for a little c, it looks like it's going to be A, because it's not there, and it's not there. So my answer has to be A. So process elimination. This actually helps out a lot. All right, so let's do number 13. Number 13 says I have ABC. So these are all line segments here. So I need to go through and actually draw a triangle. So 13. So we have ABC. And we have, so it says AB, so it's right here, 322. AC is 187, and BC 161. Now, given this one right here, I don't have any angles. So there's only one thing I could use if I don't have any angles. So from here, I have to use the law of cosine because I have no angles. Law of sine requires at least one angle. So I'm going to start off by, let's just do, so if I do A, then it would be either one of these because those are the same. If it's B, if you notice, B has all three have different angles. And then C, if I have C, that would be a possibility for those two right there. So I'm actually going to try and make it easier on myself. So because it's multiple choice, I'm going to go with B. I'm going to solve for angle B first because they're all three different. So I could eliminate three of the answers if I get an answer there. So like I said, I'm going to solve for big B. So big B is equal to, so this is where it comes in that you wrote down the stuff I told you to. Inverse cosine of, so if it's big B, it starts off with little b. Little b is 187 squared minus little a, which is 161 squared, minus little c, which is 322 squared, all over -2 times 161 times 322. You're asking right now, where did that formula come from? All right, so I had you guys write down this formula. It was on the board. It should be on the reference sheet, but I modified the one that was on the reference sheet to actually do the inverse already, because you want to find the angle B. You don't want to actually find cosine of B. So I'm actually, the formula is set up to actually do it a little bit easier. All right, so we just plug it straight to the calculator. All right, scoot up a little. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna clear it. So start with inverse cosine, and I go with 187 squared minus 161 squared minus 322 squared over -2 times 161 times 322. Close right there. And since my answer is going to be 24.1 degrees, so B is about 24.1 degrees. Now let's take a look at my multiple choices again. Right here, so my multiple choice, if it's 24.1, so B, no. So get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. So that means that my answer has to be D, because there's no other possibilities here. All right, and my last one, question 14. I hope that's the last one. Actually, no, I think that there's one more somewhere. I've got to double check. All right, we'll see. All right, so number 14. 14 says, two ships leave the harbor together traveling on course and have an angle of 125 degrees between them. So I'm going to start here. You're leaving the harbor here. I'm going to call it H. That one's going that way. That one's going that way. They leave at together, so same time. Okay, 125 degrees between them. If they each travel 548 miles, so 548, so that means the magnitude of this one is 548, the magnitude on this one is 548. So that means that I'm looking for, okay, how far are they apart to the nearest mile? So they're actually here and here now. We're trying to find the distance here. So I'm going to put in a little h right here, because if I call this one my harbor, this is going to be how far they are apart from right here. So if I'm looking at this, so even though I'm doing vectors, these are magnitudes here. So I have side, angle, side, which is law of cosine, and I'm looking for the side right here, so that goes back to that formula. So this is going to be h is equal to square root. Now if you want to change this to ABC, it'll work the same thing, and you know what, no matter how you try and do it, it's always going to give you the same pattern. So the pattern would be this, this, and this. So because I'm looking for that one, it's going to be 548 squared plus 548 squared minus 2 times 548 times 548 times cosine of 125 degrees. Let me move this out of the way. Put this in the calculator now. So, see if I can zoom out a bit. Sit out. There we go. All right, a little bit better. All right, so for right here, so it's going to be square root of my 548 squared plus 548 squared minus 2 times 548 times 548 times cosine of 125 degrees 972. So if we're talking about magnitudes and we're talking about distances here, so all these are the nearest mile. So if I'm rounding this one, it's going to give me 972. So it's about 972 miles right there. So for my answers, that has to be answer C. All the other ones are rounded differently, or actually just way off completely. Anyway, all right, don't forget, like and subscribe.